Hi, welcome back to week 48 of Foundation 52. Once again, we're continuing on with growth strategies. In part one of week 48, we talked about the different areas that we look at when it comes to growth strategies. And in this particular video, we're talking about what it means to go from working in your business to working on your business. Working on your business is one of the single biggest power moves that a small business owner can make, but it's one of the biggest struggles to go from working in to working on your business. We're so used to, as small business owners, having to do all the things. When we first start out building our business, we spend a lot of time working on everything from, we're creating our own content to we're writing our own blogs to we're getting our own files for prospecting, and you're doing everything. And then some of those things just become habit. It's easy to see how you continue to repeat through working in your business because it just becomes part of your regular routine that you're doing. If you're consistent about writing blogs, then you're used to writing a blog 3 times a week. And it doesn't occur to you that you could hand that off to somebody else, or that you could switch the amount of times that you're actually writing blogs. And that's just an example of how we get stuck in doing things as business owners that at some point we need to give up and hand off to somebody else. So when we say working in your business, that's what we mean. You're doing all the tasks, and not everything is high value. You're doing things that aren't adding a lot of value to the business overall, and they certainly aren't the things that you should be focusing on. As a business owner, you want to make sure that you're spending your time on the most high value tasks possible. That's why when we do growth strategies with business owners, one of the first things that we have them do is an audit of their time. We want to know over the course of a week or 2 weeks, excuse me, how are you spending your time? Write down everything that you do on a day-to-day basis. And business owners are surprised when they see what comes up on that list. Because when you take how you're spending your time and you equate that to the value you're getting from those tasks that you're doing, you realize you're not doing the highest value tasks possible. You're doing things, little things that need to be done that could either A, be handed off to somebody else, or B, could just be stopped in total. Sometimes we start doing things when we first start our business, and then at some point, those things aren't even valuable anymore, but we're still doing them. So you need to document it to see everything that you're doing, get a nice visual picture of it. And when you look back at all those things you're doing, you realize, man, what am I spending my time on? Right. And that's how you start to make the transition from working in to working on. Look at the list of everything you're doing and then figure out which things do you need to hand off to somebody else, which things are a must that you need to keep doing, and which things can you just stop doing in total, that they're just not relevant for your business anymore, or they're not worth the time and the energy. So there are huge benefits to working on your business. First off, the biggest one is that when you're working on your business, you're able to build out a growth strategy, right? So you can find ways to grow your business that you wouldn't otherwise have, right? You wouldn't see if you weren't working, if you were continuing to work in the business, right? You'll miss those things because you're so close to it. But when you start to back up, list out all the tasks, and you start to see all the things you're working on that aren't really adding value, it's much easier to see where you can become more efficient and where you can start to grow your business just by focusing your attention on something different. You're able to grow your revenues. You're able to probably provide better customer service, and you're able to better lead your team, which is really, really key. So the other thing that a lot of small business owners don't understand, or once they do understand it, they kind of back off of making the transition of going from working in to working on, is it requires a really heavy investment upfront of your time, right? So if you're already working like 50 or 60 hours a week doing all of these things, that you're not just going to get rid of them overnight, but you need to start to think about how you can get rid of them. You need to start to focus on some of the bigger picture things for your business. So while you're focusing on those bigger picture things, you're also still maintaining some of those other tasks that you need to eventually either stop or offload to somebody else. And really there's a balance there, because in the beginning you're working more hours, you're doing more things. And we always, we caution our clients that first 3 or 4 months, it's tough when you're making the switch. It's worth it. Once you get over that hump, it's absolutely worth it, but it is upfront investment. But just think about, you didn't get here overnight, right? You didn't just all of a sudden start doing all of these tasks and then adding more tasks to them. You added over time. Everything didn't just show up on your plate at once. You can't really get rid of everything off of your plate at once. It's just, unfortunately, it's not how business works. And that's why it's important to document and kind of go through and say, what do I need to get rid of? What must I keep? And how can I start to transition this? And who am I transitioning it to? So that upfront investment, it scares a lot of business owners away, where they're like, yeah, I don't have time to do this. I don't have time. It's the number one thing we hear when people are like, I'm so busy, I'm not sleeping, I'm working like 14 hours a day or something, right? That's because they're working in their business, not on it, in it. So when we walk them through the process to get them to working on their business as part of a growth strategy, the people who back away because they don't have the time to do it, which is crazy, because the reason you don't have time to make the switch to working on your business is because you're doing so many tasks that someone else should be doing. And so it's this double-edged sword where you've got to make the investment. You have to understand the heavy lift up front so that you can start to make the transition. And you have to know that it doesn't last forever. It's just, but it is usually 90 to 120 days where you see a really, really upfront heavy lift. But that is going from working in your business to on your business. And it's a transition that is worth making. And you really can't 2x or 5x or 10x your business if you don't make the transition. You must make the transition, but that's the investment going in, is that that it takes your time, but it is worth it on the back end. Okay, that's the end of week 48. And now we are going to remind you that we have the monthly live Q&A call. Make sure that you're joining that. And if you have any questions about anything, reach out, and make sure you take a look at the PDFs for this week. See you next week.